None other than Brandon McCaghren, aka Bmac, on Instagram at brandonmc.ninja. Dude, you know the last time we talked, particularly about what I wanted to talk to you today, was April of last year. April of last year, we started talking about all the work that you had really, started putting together on PGF and all the events you had coming up. And now we're full circle a year later. It's come and gone. You're on to the next thing. I got to start by asking
It's
you,
been that long?
it's been that long. It was April of 2023, dude.
Yeah, that seems weird. I feel like I just talked to you a couple of months ago.
I'm telling you, man, our conversations, they stick. They stick in my brain. Sometimes I have, just random thoughts
You
during
just
the
making
day.
stuff up.
No, I
You're just
swear.
making stuff
I
up.
swear. I was like, there's no way it's been over a year. It has been over a year, man. But I gotta ask, how has it been since the event?
For the PGF,
Yeah.
dude, crazy, insane. It's like the momentum is even bigger than it was leading into the season, I think.
So what season are we in right now?
We'll be coming up on season 7.
Season 7, which is gonna be in November, right?
Yes.
Okay. So for people that don't know, season 6 was kind of the beginning of a whole new stratosphere of PGF events, right?
Yeah, for sure. In a lot of ways, it was like season 1.
Yeah, right. There was the complete redo. And you put a lot of work into that. I mean, even before we had done the initial podcast about it, you and I were talking about how you were putting all this work and on the back end, sitting down and actually putting all your thoughts, whether it was with an AI assistant or yourself just sitting and typing things out, coming with game plan, the rules, all that kind of stuff. How did you go from that would had just been I mean, I'm sure you were working on it for a long time, but a few months before that to leading up to the event and then having the new partners that you had come in and having everything kind of just go like spread like wildfire? Was it all a combination? Was it the people that ended up coming in to help be a bigger part of that, or was it that you had just put so much work into it that it was inevitable it was going to happen?
Yeah, I think that it was inevitable that we would get to this spot here where we're at now, and which I feel like we're just at the beginning now,
Hmm.
right? Like we're at the next chapter, so to speak. But I think it's inevitable that we were going to get here because I think the idea is good, and I'm willing to eat crap for a long time. I feel like that's my superpower. Like I can take it longer than you can. So I'll sit here on the bottom amount for a couple of seasons trying to figure out how to survive, making sure I don't go bankrupt, and then, we'll make small improvements each time. And just the way the show is formatted, we get so much experience in each season. Like
Hmm.
pretty much any jujitsu show that you watch, or even MMA show, you're gonna watch the one night event, right? The staff gets 1 rep, the production staff gets 1 rep, the promoter gets 1 rep, the sales team gets 1 rep, et cetera, et cetera. The athletes get 1 rep. But with the way the PGF is set up, we compress the whole thing down into a week. We get 7 reps for every rep that another promotion gets. And so even though we're only coming up on season 7, we're coming up on well over 50 broadcasts now that we've
Right.
done, 50 times that we've run this game. And so when you think about it in those terms, we've got more experience than EBI or
Mm.
combat jiu-jitsu or Polaris. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think it's inevitable that we would be at least to where we are now. And I think it's inevitable that now we know how to learn.
We didn't talk a lot about the previous events on our last conversation, but I think this is a perfect time to give people an insight into what it was from 1 to 5. Because honestly, I don't think that I remember how much, and I'm sure a lot of work goes into all the events, but when you're talking about what happened or what transpires from 1 to 5 and then 6 and now going into 7, I mean, explain it for me and the people listening. What was the biggest difference in those first 5 events?
Um, the main thing that I was trying to do was just flesh out the idea. So season 1, really all we had was just a good idea and some local guys who were like, okay, yeah, that sounds fun. We'll try that. But we had the whole like skeleton of the thing built out already because we just tried to copy what was working in other leagues already. And so, okay, general skeleton, what does the NFL have? They have a preseason, a regular season, and a postseason. Okay, we need to have those things. What does their preseason look like? Looks like preseason games, looks like a draft, looks like a combine. What does their regular season look like? It looks like, 16 games over the course of 18 weeks. So we kind of generally copy that idea. And then what does the postseason look like? It looks like the top qualifiers make it into a knockout bracket. Okay, great. And then what else do they have? Oh, they have a fantasy league. Oh, they have sports radio. Oh, and so we try to take all of those little elements and at least make a placeholder for them right away with season one. So like with the PGF insiders with Wallow and Egghead and all those guys, Mickey, like I knew we needed sports radio. Okay, do I have some homies that'll just kind of like talk about PGF every week?
Hmm.
Let's set that as a placeholder and then we'll start building and improving on it as we go. And so now we've added the Grappling Hours show where Roth and Tim and Jake get in there and do their thing. So now we got the two shows. So now we got sports radio in two places and they each cover it in their own way. One's kind of snarky and funny, and one's just the bros hanging out. So that's cool. The
I
but
love
all
that.
those little things, man, we tried to like put them in place and like, okay, we'll do our best version of it while nobody's watching. We'll do our best. We'll get the education, we'll get the lesson, we'll make sure we don't overspend. And then we'll be around to run another rep for season two. Okay, tweak here, tweak the draft, tweak the fantasy, tweak the sports radio, tweak the season, tweak the budget, tweak, you know what I'm saying? Tweak the rules, run it again. And then we get all those reps again on season two. Okay, well, now we got not just two shows worth of data. We got, with season one, we had like 9 shows. No, we did like 12 shows, but 12 shows worth of data. For season two, we got 6 shows worth of data. And then we just run it again. Season three, now we're tweak, 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 run it. Boom, 6 more shows worth of data and learning how to run a budget. Now we know things we didn't know in season.
Hmm.
So we run it into season four, season five. And then by the time we had gotten to the end of season five, when Zoe showed up, he was like, "Oh, this idea is great."
Hmm.
Well, it wasn't great. The idea was always great, but the execution wasn't always great.
Right.
I said, "Okay, you guys are doing it on a local level. Imagine if we injected some some capital into this thing. What could you do?" I said, "Well, here's what we could do. And we give you season six. Oh, that went really well. What could you do if we did it again? All right, well, we'll show you season seven."
I had to find out. That's awesome, dude. So when he came up with the initial, like having, and I love that. What's the slogan exactly? Because I remember reading it a couple of times.
It's everything you love about sports plus
Plus
jujitsu.
jujitsu. Okay, that's what I thought. What was it about it that you wanted to make that the slogan? Because so essentially, people's one of the biggest complaints is always that it's especially if you're not the biggest enthusiast and you haven't been to competitions or you don't have somebody that goes and competes, the argument is it's not very watchable, it's not very crowd friendly, this, that, and the other. It's slow pace, blah, blah, blah. There's tons of excuses, right? People say that it wouldn't succeed on a larger scale. But you attaching a lot of these very common and very recognizable parts, right? Fantasy, the draft, all those different things. Was it always with the thought, okay, we need to get this to whatever would get it to the biggest scale possible from the jump? Or was it this just makes sense because it's a sport like any other sport?
Both of those things. Like ultimately, we already see the format that works for sports. Like it's really obvious. Everybody's running it. Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, soccer, whatever. They're all running a league format. Why are they all running the league format? Because that's the best way to communicate storytelling is to
Mhm.
take the same characters and spread them out with repeated exposure over time.
Right.
And storytelling is what we fall in love
Right.
with our athletes too. We think we love the sport. We love the stories of sports.
Isn't it funny
And
that that's what everything's about? Every,
everything's stories and stats.
yeah.
People love stories, people love stats. Well, jujitsu's never had either of those things because you come in on a one night event, some guy gets put out in round one, that's the end of the story. But if that happens in the PGF, he's got to run it for 4 more days. You're going to see this guy again. You're going to get to see his climb. You're going to get to see his peaks and his valleys, his heartbreak and his escalation. Like you're going to get to see all of that. And you're going to get a chance to fall in love with somebody because of who they are, what you think you like about their character, not just their performance. And maybe this guy doesn't even win. Maybe he doesn't even have a chance to win, but there's something about that dude. I like his style. And that becomes your favorite guy. Like, who's your favorite UFC fighter right now? Bet it's not one of the champions.
No, right now it'd have to be, man, he actually just fought here not too long ago. He was a newer guy. But actually I like keeping up with all the small shows, all the fight nights, right? I start following these people on social. As a matter of fact, Dakota Ditchva, my wife and I were watching her the other day. Like she's an incredible fighter, right? It's not necessarily like let's be real. Alex is great, right? He's like the go-to guy to make a card successful. Like I know Chandler and McGregor's are happening now. It's him and is it Yuri? I think again running it back. So you love the guys on the top, but there's a lot of really interesting people, and you guys do that really well with all the grapplers, right? It's follow them around. It's some of the behind the scenes stuff. And what I wanted to ask as you were talking was when you look back, because a lot of people now are going to think, all right, they're going to think Bmac, they're going to think PGF, they're going to think of everything from five on, and they're going to kind of forget, and maybe you want them to forget some of the flubs that you had in the first couple of shows, right? But it's a
No,
big part.
it's adorable.
Yeah, it
It's
is, right?
adorable.
It's it's adorable, just like BMAC. It's
Well, it is adorable. Like you look back on pictures of your kids. Well, they weren't the fully formed. Like my son's 19, but I look back on a picture of him when he's 4. He wasn't exactly the smartest person on the planet at age 4. You know what I mean? He wasn't a great decision maker at
yeah,
age 4. But you look back and there's beautiful parts of that. Even though he's a grown up now. He's has fully formed thoughts and dreams and all of that stuff. But, you know, you sort of miss when he was 4 also.
dude, right? I know your kids are getting older, and I'm sure it's just
Yeah, I'm
gonna
so old.
be.
I just need to quit. I don't know what's going on.
Well, okay, so you are a little old. You know, you're the one that said it, not me. So, and I know you've been working behind the scenes of everything: jiu-jitsu, your own personal game, your gym, your online, business, and now the events, the PGF. What was the initial thought before you even started saying, all right, we're gonna officially do, PGF, we're gonna do the first event and we're gonna see how it goes? Like, what were you trying to aim at? Was it you have this big goal of I want to make it popular, I want to make it mainstream, or I want to get
No,
paid? What was it?
no. So what my idea was initially, what made me start thinking about doing something like this was so like think about wrestling season, right? Wrestling season, you run out there every week and you get on the mat and you compete, right? And then you build this habit of competing and your routines.
Mm-hmm.
And so you become comfortable with competing is its own skill set, right? Like being good at your sport is a skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Being a good at competing is a separate skill set. The best guys are masters at both. They're master of their art and they're a master at winning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're a master at managing the emotions that come with a build to a match. So when you go and compete in wrestling, you learn how to build this skill of competing because you run it there and do it all the time. When you play on the basketball team, no, we got game day multiple times a week during basketball season. We're going to go out there, we're going to compete all the time. You're going to learn how to compete. Football, we compete every weekend. Jiu-jitsu, we get geared up for a Naga 3 months from now, and then maybe we go do it again before the end of the year. Like, hold on. You're never gonna build a skill of competing like that.
Mm.
And so my initial idea to have a league was I want to give my guys the opportunity to build the skill of competing.
Mm.
And the only way to do that is to put them in competition regularly. And so in season 1, we did it every Friday night, and it was all local guys. It was just all guys from around the area. We did it with like 32 athletes, I think. And, half of them were from 10th Planet Decatur because I wanted to look, oh, but I'm not any good. Ah, don't worry about it. Jump in there. You're a white belt. Just go compete every weekend. And so, but then once we started to put the idea together, I was like, oh, we can, we could do something really cool with this. Like we could set up an infrastructure that could change like the entire sport of jujitsu. And so as we started putting season 1 together with that initial motivation, I started to see like, oh man, we can, if we do this right and we take our time and like really try, give it our best work, we could do something that's really, really special, like for the entire community, not just for our little crew.
So it wasn't even to make it an actual sport or a league or a whole new thing. It was just to get your guys to be better at
That
competition.
was the initial thought
Right.
that sparked the idea to do it as a league.
Wow, I
And
had
then
no idea.
as I started building the league, I went, oh, this is gonna, this could be a game changer for the entire industry if I don't screw it up and
Oh.
like run it in the ground. Because I don't know how to do like I've never done something like this before. I'm not a promoter,
Right.
you know.
How do you
So I've
so how
had
do
to
you go
learn a lot
from
of new skills.
yeah, for sure, right? Which, your headset, your broadcasting gear over here is showing new skills that you've picked up along the way as well. We'll get to that here shortly. But how do you go from, okay, this is something that we can do. Like it probably is was it that aha moment where you're sitting on the mats watching, your crew compete and then the wheels just start turning like, "Oh my God, I just unlocked something here."
Um, no, I mean like as we started building it before season one,
Hmm.
I was like, okay, we have an opportunity to do something really special for for the whole community here.
Yeah.
So
Who's
I knew just like once we started fleshing out the idea, I was like, this is a game changer.
who's the first person you go to with an idea like this? You being you with a lot of
My
resources in your
wife,
face. Oh, of course, right? I should have thought that. I should have, yeah.
she's the smartest person I know. She has all the opposite strengths and weaknesses of me. And so she can see holes in a plan that I would never think of, you know?
Yeah.
And
That's
so
that's a part of being
she
married for
can,
a long time, right?
yeah, like we're complete. We were just talking about this morning. We're total opposites
Hmm.
in all the best ways. So like whatever strengths I have, those are her weaknesses. Whatever weakness I have, those are her strengths. And so if I've got a hole in this part of my game, she's got that's a strength in her game,
Mm,
a game of life. I should,
of
you know what I
course,
mean?
of course.
And so we're covered across the board, offensively and defensively.
I love that, man. I gotta say too, here to kind of butter your bread a bit, like your relationship with your wife and your family and the whole everybody, the Bmac family is one of the coolest, most genuine families or I guess bonding kind of unions I think I've ever seen in not just the jiu-jitsu community, but mostly, let's be real, the jiu-jitsu community and just in general online, man. Like you guys really have a special synergy.
And I love her. It's easy to love her. She's my best friend.
Dude, I can relate so much. My wife actually, she's turning, or her birthday soon. She's turning the big 40, and she's like, I've never felt better. I've never felt younger, right? And it's like, it is just so cool to see, like, as you get older with somebody, how awesome it can be. It doesn't have to be the stereotypical, like, oh, I'm tired of this person as we get older together. Like, what? What are you talking about? You married the wrong person.
Yeah, or you're the wrong person, most likely.
Right. All right. So you approach her with this idea. What does she say initially? Is she's like, that's great, or does she start poking holes in it immediately?
Well, right away. That's why I need her. I need her poking holes in it right away. And so I also the very first night when we was like, okay, I'm gonna sit and map this out. Like, let's block off the whole night. I called Keelan Lawyer.
Oh
I
yeah.
said, come over to the house. Me, you, and Lindsay are gonna sit down at the table. And this is the way I manage my ADD. Okay, I'm gonna give you until I learned how to do this. I uh, I didn't I couldn't get anything organized or done, but I learned how to do this. So what I do is I clear off the whole kitchen table and I take blank pieces of paper and I set them out. So it's like just covered in blank pieces of paper. And I got a pen sitting on top of each piece of paper, just an ink pen. And okay, we're talking about a jujitsu league. Okay. And then get up and I start pacing. And then I start thinking, okay, okay, main thing we're gonna need to whatever, we're gonna need to have a 16-week season. Okay, okay. So then on one piece of paper I write regular season, 16 weeks. And then that gets the ball rolling. Okay, 16 weeks. You're gonna make sure they have a bye week. And so I'm just writing bulleted lines of all the ideas. And then as I go down 90 seconds into this, I get three things down. I go, oh, but what about how we're gonna sell tickets? And now I get another piece of paper and it's about ticket sales. And then all the little things I think about, oh, but oh man, we're never going to be able to do this with regional athletes because we're not going to have the money, and so we're going to need to create some other sources of revenue. And so I go to the next piece of paper, other sources of revenue, and I just marketing, email, social media, roster, budgeting, finance, whatever, and they all get their own sheet of paper, and then I'll Keelan, what do you think? Oh yeah, that's a good point, Keelan. That goes on the refereeing page, what you just said. Lindsay, what do you think? Oh, that's stupid because you hadn't even thought about this. Oh, that's its own separate page over here. Oh, that's a good point. That goes in the marketing page, and I just start filling in the bullets.
Dude, I have a whiteboard here. I have like a the app iPad pen with a doodler thing. I've got sticky notes everywhere. I'm almost the exact same way. I have to like I have to write things out and draw it and almost kind of connect the dots like in that meme where it's like I think it's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where he's like
Yeah,
connecting all the dots, right? Or connecting the marks. That's how I am too, man. And it's crazy because when you're done with it, you kind of take a step back and you're like you can go one of two ways. You're like ooh, I have completely bitten off more than I can possibly chew. Or you get more excited because you see this whole table of potential that you want to put together like a big puzzle. And I'm sure obviously that's
yeah,
what you went through, right?
yeah, for sure that.
That's
Yeah, and
so
sometimes you do look at it and go, okay, this is stupid.
fun. Yeah. It was just an
But
hour
this
of
was
monument time.
definitely like the biggest project that I've ever tried to take on in any way whatsoever. So
You had
I
never
looked at it.
tried like hosting shows or competitions or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done some,
Yeah.
but
You
that's not what this
level.
is.
Right.
This is a international professional league. Like this is big boys play in this sport, and
Yeah.
I'm building it from my kitchen table in Hartselle, Alabama. Like you got quite the task in front of you.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
billionaires play in the sporting league, and
Right.
I'm a 100 air. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. So you do the first five pretty much all. Is it just your team, the crew at 10th Planet
Yeah,
Decatur?
yeah, yeah. That's another cool thing about it. It's a project that the homies are working on.
Hmm.
It's everybody that's involved is homies.
And it wasn't until six came around that you had outside help.
That's right. Well, I
Now,
mean,
obviously,
we've picked up like, local sponsors along the way,
mhm.
small local sponsors and stuff like that. But
And obviously, we whatever you can or can't talk about, obviously we can take it out or we don't have to talk about it. But how do you go from "Oh, I want to go to the next step, and the next step for you isn't just like incremental; it's a massive step. The prizes for the athletes, the venue, the people involved promoting the event. What's the next little notch up to make that happen?
well, so just Zoe and Heather getting involved.
Was
Like
it them
that's
just kind of approaching you about it, or did you seek out,
yeah, he came to me about it.
no way?
We invited him and he came out to watch season 5. He was there with the Epic Roll team. Epic Roll sponsored one of the
Mhm.
teams. And so Zoe came out and he had some of the guys from his business team were with him. And so they were just all hanging out, you know, watching, being supportive to his team that he was sponsoring. And he sat me down probably Tuesday night and he goes, "Hey, what do you want to do with this? Like, what are you trying to do?" I was like, I want to turn it into a professional sport one of these days. Pass it off to the next guy who can take it to the next level. He goes, "Yeah, I think you got something here." And so, yeah, that's where that started.
That's so cool. And then obviously, in comes in, the misses. Are they married? They're married, right?
Not married, but
Not married.
they've been together for a long,
Yeah.
long time.
Dude, what a powerful duo, right? Like I started following
Yeah.
more closely after you and I initially podcasted last year, which again was April of last year. And just the stuff I mean, they're running and gunning all the time. Like they are about it. Like they're literally, whatever they talk about, they do. They're always putting it out there. They're about not just the jujitsu, but like business and like just making things happen. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, dude, I've learned a lot from them about how to dream bigger, which is kind of funny because I'm like a head in the clouds kind of dude anyway.
Hmm.
But I definitely am also a guy who grew up in Lawrence County, Alabama. And you limit yourself in ways you don't understand that you don't even recognize, you know? And so I've definitely learned a lot from them about how to like dream a little bit bigger and how to reach out and grab after something, you know? they're fascinating people, man. They've been a real blessing in my life, honestly. Even like outside of the PGF, I'm really grateful to know them.
Dude, I bet they seem very, very awesome. And you got like,
Zoe escaped. He left Hungary. He grew up in communism
right.
and was like, I'm gonna go and be a rock star. And everybody was like, you're not gonna go to America and be a rock star. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And so he does it anyway. He just sets out and takes off and does it, bro. Like, that's insane. Like he came to America with like $400 in his pocket.
That's wild. I love stories like that, man. Shit fires you up.
Bro, you should talk to this dude. He is fascinating.
I've seen you guys did a couple of like short little interviews together or just conversations, right? That you guys posted on the YouTube channel. And he
Yeah.
just seems like he is a fountain of not just knowledge, but really good wisdom. I think it's the best way to put it.
He's a very interesting cat. He's been him and Heather too, man. They've been tremendous blessings for me. Heather's
You,
a freaking go-getter, bro.
dude, I
She's a
know.
go. She will cut your throat to get what she needs, bro. I love it. She's a dog.
Yeah, man. If you don't follow her, you should definitely follow her on Instagram. She's very interesting and she's very active. Like it's almost like, does this woman ever sleep? Does she ever stay still for a bit?
No, she does not.
You mentioned something really interesting because I've known you for a long time. I think I've known you since like 2014, 15, something like that. And you said you limited your like the way you like your dreams essentially, right? The level to which you could dream to. And I always find that fascinating because as you even said, like you're kind of a head in the clouds kind of guy yourself, and I am as well. And things tend to always kind of pan out for those individuals like me and you, I would say, because the head's always in the cloud, but you're always in motion in those directions. Like you're not just sitting back waiting for the secret to kind of like do everything for you. Like you're actually in motion working towards those things.
Yeah.
But that's a really interesting thing to say. Like you were limited by your dreams. How did this relationship or this, what happened and transpired help you dream bigger? What was it about it?
It's not even about the PGF really. Like I had the big idea for the PGF. It's just like in my own personal life, my own personal finances and stuff like that, you know.
Hmm.
But you were talking about head in the clouds, like you end up getting what you want. A lot of people with their head in the clouds don't end up getting what they want
Right.
because they don't know how to put their hands in the dirt. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like head in the clouds, hands in the dirt. And if you can't put your hands in the dirt, then you got to have somebody on your team that puts their hand, not just on your team, but like your soulmate almost or
Right.
your partner. They got to be able to put their hands in the dirt if you can't do it. And a guy who just puts his hands in the dirt, he's got to learn to put his head in the clouds too. So it's a combination of both. It's just like dude, it's the same thing as being good at your art, and then there's also the skill of competing. You got to have this is the hands in the dirt. Head in the clouds, good at my art. Hands in the dirt, the skill of competing. If you don't have both, you don't become one of the greats. And I'm tend to become one of the greats, dude. So
Dude, that should move me right there. That's incredible. That's when you know you've been hanging around some wise people when you have stuff like that just kind of throw off the top of your dome.
I don't know. I'm a
Just a shrug,
redneck,
just a
dude.
casual, cute shrug.
I'm just a redneck, bro.
You've been saying that for as long as I've known you, and it's what's not
I've been a
true.
redneck
It
as
is
long
not
as you've
true.
known me.
And well, that may be true, but I mean, it's just like there's so much more to BMAC if you don't know him. You're just like, wait a minute. I feel like this guy's lying to me a bit here. He's more than just a guy from Alabama.
No, that is all I am. I am just a guy from Alabama, you know? That's that's plenty. That's plenty to get done what needs to get done. I don't know. I don't understand why just a guy from Alabama is a problem. Like just a guy from wherever is not a problem.
Right.
There's been people from worse places that got the job done.
That's very true. So when you talk about getting the job done, you start making these moves. Do you hit any initial hiccups or immediate hiccups, or did things kind of start rolling in the direction that you thought they would go?
No, it's the hardest. This is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do in my life, for sure.
Wow.
For sure. Tons and tons of roadblocks, tons and tons of like limiting beliefs to push through, tons of people pushing back from one direction or the other. Yeah. And like tons of new skills to add that I didn't even know that I needed. But not only do you need this skill, but you need to be pretty decent at it by this date. Like, oh, I got 17 other new skills that I have to be decent at by this date too. So yeah, tons of pressure, bro.
So do
I've,
you start taking on more responsibilities like on a day to day? Do you start delegating? Do you start
yeah,
adding team members?
yep, all of that.
All
Did
of
all of
that?
that. Took on more responsibilities, delegated a lot, and started moving on the day to day, every day. But I mean, it's become a full-time task that not just for me, but like it's a lot, Mara. It's a lot.
Would you have considered yourself like a really good business guy, businessman prior to this?
Parts of business, yes,
Yeah. Now you're
but
more
not.
rounded.
Yeah, I'm definitely more well-rounded. I definitely still have giant holes in my game. Like I feel like I just got my blue belt in business. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's kind of how I feel.
All
Like,
right.
okay, I know what to do, but I don't do any of it right. You know, that's what a blue belt is. Like, you know all the right answers, but you actually suck at all of it. That's where I'm at.
In your mind, you're flawless at your execution, but really when you do, you watch the video back, you're like, oh my God, that's terrible.
Dude, I hope nobody ever sees this.
So if you don't mind sharing like at least one of the roadblocks that really kind of like took you back and you were like, oh, I was not expecting something, like this.
Hmm. Well, just I would definitely would be like a couple of the interpersonal relationships that it's strange. Like people see that you are I don't want to like say this arrogantly, but like say you're taking a step forward
Sure.
or you're going to reach and you're going to try something new and you're going to step into some new shoes that you've never stepped into before, you know, and like I'm going to try something. I'm going to try to grasp for something. And people don't like that. Some people don't like to see you like trying to outgrow your old self.
Hmm.
And that has been the most surprising part is just, and it hasn't been like a ton of people,
Sure.
but like some people that I would just be like, I just didn't expect that you would be somebody that would be like a hater, so to
Sure.
speak.
I don't know
Yeah.
if this was a Hermosi line, but I know he's said it several times where it's like people want to see you do well, just not better than them.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
don't know. I don't know who said that, but I have heard that before.
Yeah, and it's just
You
like
say
it's a,
Hormozy, he's very interesting, isn't he? I've been watching a lot of his stuff. I
yeah.
think he's very interesting.
He is, man. And funny enough, when I had a brick and mortar business back in around the time where I met you, actually, where we started doing stuff at On It with the Jiu Jitsu podcast, he was just starting running ads for Gym Launch. So it was like 2015, 16. And I remember seeing him jacked, had the mustache and everything. And his stuff was very, very geared towards gym owners and me having had like a recovery facility with dreads and some of our other buddies at the time, I was like, it's kind of like adjacent, but it's not really what his target audience is. It's about gyms. I wish I would have clicked into his funnels. I wish I would have clicked into what he was doing, 10 years ago to get, even better idea. Cause I've read his books. I have his books. I even ordered the bundle. I got the acquisition hat. Like I love what he talks about because if you've been in actual business where you took on an event, of your size, or you put money into, I'm going to get a rental location and start this brick and mortar business and invested time and money and years and all this kind of stuff into business, you just understand more of it. And then to see somebody at his age, because I think he's 34, I think him and I are the same age, what he went, working from, I think it was Dallas or Austin at the time to, what he in his little office space or little gym, and to see what he's done now, it's like unreal. Like this guy really did sleep on his floor, make these videos, create these assets, take him to market, the market bottom, and now he is the Alex Ramosi that you see now. Which in a weird way, he's kind of reached the status where if you've been on the internet long enough consuming this stuff, you're like, is he another one of these like snake oil salesman kind of guy, right? Or is he just kind of like messing with you, not really about it? But that guy's really about it.
Yeah, I think about him. I think of him in like the same vein as I think about like a Gary Vaynerchuk.
I was gonna say that,
Like
yeah.
he really does the thing. Now you don't have to like his style, you don't have
Right.
to agree with him, uh, but he really is the thing.
Yeah, it's interesting to see because the internet has made it so easy in a way to make things happen, but it's even easier now to make a fool of yourself by just pretending like you know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, no kidding, huh? No kidding.
Uh,
Dude, you know what? I just realized I didn't have
what?
my TV on. Hold on, man.
If is it gonna be highlights of the PGF? It better be.
No, dude, I just gotta put this. Hold on. Just wait just a second, dude. Calm
What you
down.
got?
Just calm down over there.
Oh, whoa, whoa! I'm calm over here. I'm
Just
calm.
settle down.
I'm settled. I'm waiting for BMAC to visit Central Texas again.
Oh, I'm coming to Austin this weekend.
What?
I'll be in Austin this weekend. I leave Saturday.
Bro, what's up, man? I mean, I'm
I'm
right down
doing commentary for main character.
fill me in. What's main character?
What?
What?
Main character is Kamoy Anderson's promotion.
Oh,
It's
okay.
good. It's good.
I'm gonna pull it up in a tab right now. Main character.
Yeah, you'll love it. It's good. Let's see if this works now. Come on now. Oh, that's pretty good. I don't know why Nakaya's face is back there. What is this?
Dude, she's a beast.
Yeah, she's great and everything. I was trying to pull up the UFC Fight Pass logo.
Do it.
Oh
Because I'm
well.
about to ask you about that
I
next.
gotta get out of my. There's my thing.
I gotta ask you too, since we're transitioning to cash talk here for a second. What camera are you using?
Oh, this is the studio display just on the MacBook.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I like the tracking. It's following you well. It's
Dude,
zooming.
I don't like that. It drives me
Mm,
kind of crazy, to be honest.
okay. Think we need to turn it off. I'm just
I
kidding.
don't know how to turn it
No, I
off.
think it looks great personally. Main character jujitsu, okay, on Instagram, at main underscore character underscore jujitsu. I like it. Looks cool. I got
Did I
the
pull
Instagram.
up? Come on now. What's going on here? Well, it's got to be this way to me.
You got Apple
I'm
TV?
trying to do something cool. Here we go.
No one's
Come on
rushing.
now. Hey, come on now.
That's
Lord
that.
help.
That's that Alabama internet.
Lord help.
There
Lord help the working man. There we go.
we go.
Let's go.
UFC Fight
Still
Pass.
not the right logo, but I'll take it.
All
I might have
right.
to
Well,
fix all this
dude,
later.
this is a perfect time to ask you. What's up with your commentary skills progressing to a point where I didn't think they could get to? You're a pro now. You're doing UFC Fight Pass events. How did that come about?
Like initially, like how did I get started doing it?
Yeah,
I think it at On It Invitational was like one of my very first times.
I do remember that because you did the one with Schaub and Callan, didn't you?
Yeah, you would think so, right? Like you remember back and you remember, oh, Brandon did commentary with
Yeah.
Shaw.
All right. Sorry for the technical difficulty there. I had the pro plan for a reason, and yet it seems like my desktop app didn't update, so it limits you to those 40 minutes, which is
Dude, you say
ridiculous.
whatever you need to. You're on the free plan, dude.
I'm definitely not on the free plan,
It's
man.
okay, man. It's nothing to be ashamed of.
Son of a bee. At least you got your Fight Pass logo up now. It looks better.
Darn. There we go.
All right, we left off by saying you would think you had done the event with Callan and Schaub. Please proceed, sir.
Yeah, so you remember back to that. And you're like, oh, I remember Brandon doing commentary
Hmm.
with Brandon
Yeah,
Shaw.
you took Fody's spot on that one, I remember.
Yes, but it was actually Eddie that took that spot. Eddie was
Oh.
the one that was on commentary. I was sitting beside Eddie on the mat. And Eddie, about halfway through the show, he goes, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. Jump on this mic until I get back. And then when he came back from the bathroom, he was like, just stay there. And that's how my commentary career got started.
I do remember that. Wasn't Curtis with you too?
I can't remember who all
I
it
think it
was.
was Curtis on. Oh yeah, it turned into like a round robin, and people started coming on and off that with Mike on the very end. That's funny.
So
Yeah,
that was how I got started with commentary.
and I
And
think
then and then Eddie, I was like, oh, I think I would like to do this. So I volunteered to do like local ones. I was like, I want to go start trying to build this skill.
mm,
And so then I would just do like little local, like this guy's having a free tournament. Nobody's even getting paid,
mm,
And I would go and like, hey, let me come and sit in on it. And I'll try to add this to the broadcast to your broadcast. Okay, cool. They don't care because they're just doing like a little in-house tournament.
yeah.
And then I did a couple of like little local MMA, local jujitsu, and I started hitting Eddie up. I was like, hey, I want to try to do EBI sometime. And he's like, well, those spots are filled. It's like, okay, no worries. But if a spot ever opens up, just remember that I asked you. And then a spot did open up eventually. And he's like, okay, it's just a one-time thing though. I was like, no problem. And so I just like massively over prepared, studied for like weeks and weeks leading into the event. And yeah, and then I've done every show since for EBI, combat jiu-jitsu, Medusa, all of Eddie's stuff.
Dude, that's incredible. I love that. So Fody, just so you know, you missed out. You know, BMAC not only took your role that day, and so did Eddie, but you could have been doing the commentary. But anyway, we won't get into that.
This could have been Joey.
It could have been Joey. I mean, yeah, look like I could be brothers.
What's that dude up to?
He's still in H-Town, you know, doing his thing. Honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know because I moved to the Austin area like a year ago, so we've only seen
What
each other
a
once. Yeah,
what a loser.
Fody or me?
Yeah, both of you
All
really.
right, fair enough, fair enough. No, man. I don't know. We're supposed to get together. You know, now that we're up here, it's a good excuse for my friends, you know, to come up and visit. You know, it's not that far. It's like 2.5, 3 hours for most of them. But
Yeah,
everybody,
come on, Fody, get your stuff together.
yeah, right. But most people get so busy. I understand that they're just like,
It's
um,
harder to see people when they're close to you than when they're across the country.
you think so?
To me, it is. I see people local that are like an hour and a half away, less than I see Eddie who lives in Los Angeles.
Fair, I can see that. But I just imagine Eddie's cooler than the people an hour away from you.
Some of them, some of them are pretty cool, you know.
Trying hard not to laugh at that one, BMAC. It's okay. You're not insulting the people an hour away. They're just not, you know, not worth the hour drive. Gas is expensive.
It's not that. It's just like you always feel like, well, I could just go over there anytime.
And then you don't.
And you just don't get around to it because you could just do it whenever. You know what I mean?
That's that ADD-ness going on there. It's like somehow
Yep.
making sense of it.
But it's okay. You're in Austin. Main character. You asked about main character. My
Yeah.
buddy Kamoy has been a PGF veteran for several seasons. He runs a promotion called Main Character out of Austin, and he's got some banger matchups. So me and Andrew Tackett are going to be on the commentary this weekend, and Michael Carpenter versus Travis Thomas is on the card. My boy Nick Soff is on the card. And then the main event is Andy Varela versus Joseph Chen, which is a killer matchup.
Yeah, I think Andy's doing a seminar there, yeah?
Yeah, on like Friday night, I think.
I believe so.
I'll
Yeah.
fly in. I'll get in there on Saturday afternoon. So come
Okay.
through the show on Sunday, man.
Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. I got it pulled up here. I got it. I'll put the notes because I'm gonna drop this today. I'm just gonna drop it today. So if you're interested and you're listening this far in, obviously the links will be in the description. That's cool, man.
Yeah, and I love Kamoy. Anything that he does, I want to support it.
That's awesome. So you're just flying in just to do commentary, kind of in and out
Yep.
kind of thing?
Yep.
All right, so back to the commentary part. Is it everything you thought it would be? Like, because I mean, you've known me for a long time too. Podcasting, interviews, conversations, talking about something that you're interested in is kind of one of aside from jujitsu, would you agree it's probably the funnest thing you could be doing, other than hanging with your family, obviously?
Yeah, for sure. I love doing commentary. Like I get to sit Matt's side for all of the most fun and important matches in the sport. It's crazy. It's super fun. And then like getting involved and then working for UFC Fight Pass now, getting to do those Fight Pass invitationals and like I'm going to work International Fight Week next week in Vegas.
Nice.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, that's the coolest thing ever, dude. The coolest thing ever. I thought until the McGregor Chandler fight got canceled, I was like, this is the peak. This is as cool as it gets. I'm gonna work a Conor McGregor fight, but then he dropped. So now I'm just gonna be working uh Poatan versus Yuri Prohaska. So oh no, the
Oh
worst.
no, that's so funny. But yesterday morning, you know, random or side quest here. Do you use Threads? Because I see you post on it on occasion.
I not really use it, but I'm a I feel like it's got a lot of potential,
Right.
but I don't really use it. No,
Right.
I use it a lot at the beginning, like the first couple of weeks it came out, and then I was like the momentum fell off pretty hard.
Do you use Twitter or X? Sorry.
No,
No.
but I should. Dude, I just did commentary this past weekend in Cancun, Mexico for this thing called the Johnny Hernandez Invitational. It was his first one that he's done. And they were sponsored by this cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Okay. It was very interesting. The cryptocurrency is called Flying Avocado Cat, is the name of the
Oh
crypto.
my
It's like a
God.
meme coin, right?
Okay.
Anyway, I say that to say that they did the live stream on X
Hmm.
and it was popping off, dude.
Huh.
They had like 1,200 concurrent the entire 3 or 4 hour broadcast.
I heard somebody say earlier this week that views on X are significantly easier now than they've ever been for live streaming or video in general. And I
Dude,
wanted to
for
look
live
into
streaming,
why.
it's got to be true. That was the first time I've probably since before I was on Instagram. That's probably the first time I've thought about Twitter and like oh, I should be using Twitter.
Right, right.
I never think about Twitter. I
No.
literally never think about it.
I think about LinkedIn more these days than I do Twitter.
I I think about LinkedIn even less than I think about Twitter.
You're not very professional. I get it, BMAC. I get you're not trying to, schmooze with all the CEOs of these regular ass companies when you're building a sports league.
I mean, maybe I should be, you know, but I mean, Vaynerchuk's always talking about how good LinkedIn is for traffic, like for organic traffic. But I'm divided so much already. I just, the thought of trying to manage another social media channel sends me into existential dread. I can't do it.
As it is, I already wish that like these current platforms didn't have such a stranglehold on us and everything that we do, right? It's a double-edged sword because it's awesome that you can do things like you and I are doing now and spread the word for things, but
Man, yeah, I mean, every cool thing I get to do in my life is because I doubled down on social media super hard early.
absolutely.
Well,
And
not every, I mean, like it's that plus the combination of jujitsu,
yeah.
but like if you really think about it, I don't have any credentials whatsoever as a jujitsu player. Like I might run out and win a Naga this weekend. You know what I mean? Like I'm not some world champion or even close to it and never was gonna be, it's just, and then I'll say that and people will be like, oh, whatever, dude, you're doing all these shows. Like, whoa, how do you think I got to all these shows?
One
It was
must also
from social
understand,
media.
yes, one must understand that BMAC takes social very serious because he takes business very seriously. And also, point two, they must know that BMAC does not run. So the fact you just said you might run out and win a Naga, BMAC doesn't
Oh
run.
yeah, I might walk out and win a Naga. Maybe I
In
should
his
say that. That's a
sandals,
great point.
kind of stride slowly over there.
That's a strong point. I appreciate you bringing that up.
But
That's
I will
fact.
say what you just said about social media is how I feel about podcasting. And I still do I have basically I do marketing client services for a few people, a few clients, and that keeps me super busy. And the podcasting is always unfortunately taken, a backseat. And I hate it because to this point, I'll be 35 this year. From the time I was 21, 22 to now, every single awesome opportunity from the back in the day with On It and the Jiu-Jitsu guys or anything else, even the clients I work with today, everybody, you and I meeting, all the cool things that have happened have come through a podcast I produced or a podcast that I hosted in a conversation that I had on a show or behind the scenes of a show. Every single one of them. And I'm like, me not doubling down on this and trying to also create good content, man. Because I don't know about you, but when I open social today, I feel like everything is just regurgitated, repeated, unoriginal, just garbage for the most part. And I want to put something out there that's a lot, in my opinion, better than that, or just good enough to where I'm like, okay, that if somebody finds it, they'll find it entertaining, they'll find it interesting, it'll make them whatever, pique their interest and just, benefit them in one way or another. But a lot of the stuff I feel like is just the same old stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's just everything is for a particular audience.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that's so cool about social media is it offers you a chance to find those 1,000 true fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you really don't need millions and millions of followers. You don't even need 10,000 followers. You need 1,000 people that are so into your brand that they'll spend $100 a year with you. And now you're making six figures.
Right.
Like, and what else has ever offered that opportunity besides social media?
Right. And if you've never read A Thousand True Fans, you should go. Is that Kevin Kelly? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's a
Little
article
excerpt.
really just written
Yeah.
by, it's not even a book, or it's just like a little essay written by Kevin Kelly. It's called A
Mhm.
Thousand True Fans
Yeah. No, I can't disagree with
or
you.
Super Fans. There's two versions of it actually.
Is there?
Yeah, there's two. There's like the super old version, and then he's got like an updated one.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've read the super one, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. BMAC was actually the first person outside of like the entrepreneurial kind of marketing world that I heard anybody reference it because back in the day, going back to that thousand true fans and 100, or people, 1,000 people to pay you with $100 a month for whatever your service is or your product. Uh, Like most people didn't get that, and I don't think they still do. I don't think they've read that, right? Like they get lost in a lot of consuming a lot of content that is good, is beneficial, whether it's Hormozy or Gary Vee or whatever, and that they don't go implement the thing. Like in the 5 or 10 years that
Yeah.
you're consuming all this content, you could have worked your way to building up your email list or whatever it is, your social page, and then getting the 100 or 1,000 people. And it's really hard. Like it's like with jujitsu or anything else to stay disciplined to do the thing.
It's not that hard though, is it? It's really not.
No,
Like,
no, it's not
it's
hard.
not that hard if you're motivated.
Yeah,
If you have goals, like it's not that hard, dude. I don't know. I don't want to give people an out right there. It's not that hard.
you're right.
Like
You're right.
it's not like it's like nobody could have done what I'm doing or could do like, oh, only Garza is capable of running a Zoom for free. Like
I
come on,
swear
dude.
I have the pro plan.
It's not that hard.
You're
It's
right.
just
You're right.
come on, man.
Considering, like, have you before your world of jujitsu, did you do other, regular civilian things, we'll call it, for a living, or has it always been martial arts?
Yeah, well, my first degree is in theology.
No way.
Yeah, so I have a theology degree and I have a business degree.
Okay.
And so my first 8 years of having a job, starting in college, starting in my sophomore year of college, I worked as a full-time youth minister, just working with kids, trying to help teenagers out, you know.
I didn't know that.
And so that was what I thought I was going to be making $30,000 a year forever doing that kind of job. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, but then you know, I also have always had like entrepreneurial tendencies. So I had the double major, I had the business degree also.
Right.
So yeah, I wanted to start exploring a lot of that. And then I kind of tried to, my first business was trying to, play music. Like I just want to go play my guitar all the time. How do I turn that into a thing? How do I make enough money to make that a thing? Like I don't have to, like again, I don't have to get rich. Just how do I not how do I make enough money to just do that? And I could, again, dude, I thought I was going to be making $30,000 a year forever. Like, I got to be able to figure out $30,000 a year with a guitar. Like, come on, man. And so I did that for a little while, and then I started training jujitsu in the transition between those two things.
Mm,
And yeah, it just kind of got obsessed pretty
that's interesting.
quickly.
I didn't know that. Did I see you play guitar in Cancun on stage somewhere?
Yeah, dude, any excuse I can get to get on stage, I'm doing it.
It's very true. If you ever get the privilege of experiencing a live acoustic show by Bmac, you should consider yourself very lucky.
Well, I mean, it'd be very easy to get me to do it. You just be like, hey, here's a guitar. Will you? I'm like, yeah, yeah, I can't say yes fast enough.
You should just bring one on the road. You just get one of those mini Martins and just carry it with you everywhere you go.
I got a little mini Washburn. I've literally never I got it to travel with. I've literally never taken it
Oh,
anywhere. I've had it for like 15 years.
dude, you really should.
Yeah.
Do you have somebody
What am I,
follow?
when I
What?
just don't have time to, when I'm going to have time to mess with it. It's just like extra luggage to carry around.
Fair, fair. But do you have, speaking of, being carried around, do you have anybody that follows you around right now? Are you Gary V yet?
I've had that for several years, but
Yeah.
he's in Europe right now doing that with Zoe.
Oh,
So
okay.
like we went on, so Keelan is my business partner at PGF. We founded the PGF together,
Mhm.
and he's in Europe right now on tour with Five Finger Death Punch and Metallica.
Dude, that's
And
incredible.
he's the lead videographer for the tour.
Wow. So when are we
So
going to
yeah,
get James or Kirk or somebody to
I
show
don't
up?
know,
You don't know?
dude. Listen, things are getting weird these days.
Yeah.
So you just never know what could happen.
I have
Like
a,
I went over and spent the first week of the tour
yeah.
over there in Europe with him, just hanging out. Bro, what a what a crazy experience that is.
Yeah, I
Like,
bet.
oh, I'm going on tour with a rock band, not a rock band, like they're number one on the rock charts right now.
Yeah.
This is so crazy, dude.
And again, it all came from social, people. It all came from doubling down on efforts on social.
Yeah, just doing your best work, whatever your hand finds to do, you just exert completely, give everything to it.
I have so Metallica is my favorite band in the world. I think most people know that. I have a sealed Monopoly version of the Metallica Monopoly game that I'm waiting to put up on a shelf behind
Well,
me.
check this out, bro. We were in Munich, Germany with Metallica,
Hey,
and there's
hey.
80,000 people screaming down onto the stage, and I'm sitting like here's the stage. I'm sitting right here, leaning my back on the stage, and 80,000 people are screaming down on top of me, bro.
I'm so jealous right now. I don't
80,
understand.
listen to me, 80,000 people. Do you know what that feels like? That is the craziest. I can't imagine being a rock star and then having to be a normal person who has to go to Costco. Like, are you kidding me? Those two things, how can they? I see why these guys lose their mind. It makes perfect sense to me now.
I do
What
too.
a crazy feeling.
That's a crazy life, right? But I mean, I'm probably going to Costco after this podcast. So, I mean, I would like to do both.
And Costco's crazy in its own way.
I feel like you're mocking me right now. So crazy story about that, or about Metallica. Last year, my brother got me tickets. We were supposed to go to New York City to watch the Yankees versus the Astros one night, and then go to a 2 night Metallica Pantera concert. Long story short, I wasn't able to
Whoa.
make it. Biggest tragedy thus far of my life. I know, first world problems, but I'm glad that it came full circle where you got to be front row in front of a Metallica show with 80,000 people.
Oh, no,
Look,
no, no, no. I wasn't front row.
okay,
There's front row,
all right. I see
there's
where
a
this is going.
pit
I see where this is
area,
going.
and then there's the stage. Front row, pit, Brandon,
Okay.
right
Okay.
there. That's where I'm at.
I appreciate the distinction. And the camera zooming in and out at the same time is also a great touch.
I do what I can.
Yes. This is why I love talking to the guy, everybody. I
He's, he's the worst.
he's the worst and best at the same time. That really is. All right. Can you give me one story that you could tell publicly about that trip, about the whole thing? Like, what was the coolest? I mean, that sounds like probably the coolest thing, but did anything top that? You can say no. I
No,
understand. No.
no,
Okay,
like
that's fair.
that's the craziest feeling. And they're not screaming for me. Keep that in mind. I'm just feeling the energy that they're putting towards the musicians,
Right.
insane. Just insane. I cannot imagine
That's cool.
that being somebody's real life. That's crazy. And then I'm looking up on the actual stage is Keelan, who started doing videography because he got
Way
his knee
back.
hurt. He got his knee hurt in jujitsu class, and I was like, just come film my website stuff until you get back to waiting tables. And then there he is walking on the stage during the middle of the concert, just catching footage. Like, yo,
That's
that's
wild.
crazy. That's crazy that it was me and him up there doing it. That was the weirdest part.
I love that. I
Riding on
love
a
that.
tour bus, staying in five-star hotels. Like, what are you talking? It was just insane.
I don't even think we could top. I almost wanted to stop here and let the air just kind of breathe, and then people can understand like the life that BMAC gets to live these days because he is who he is.
I don't know if it's because I am who I am or anything, but it's just like it is
Come
fun.
on.
It is crazy.
Dude, no, that's awesome. So is that why you have well, I don't know. I don't want to say you've had less content, but you have had less videos out as of late, right? On social. Is it because Keelan's not there?
Um, yeah, I mean, less original content. It's still posting all the
Yeah,
time.
right, of course. Yeah, no, you guys
But
have a
yeah, no,
you guys do great
Keelan's not here
stuff
right
together.
now.
Yeah. When's he coming back?
End of July, I think.
If he comes back.
Oh, well, yeah, we may never see Keelan again. He's stuck in Zurich somewhere.
That's awesome. All right, brother. We're coming up on an hour. I could talk to you all day long, but just to wrap it up, to bring the conversation full circle, we're moving into season 7 of the event. What steps are going up from here? Because I know you're going to do it bigger and better than you did last time. What can people expect?
They can expect another massive grand prize to the winning team and to the athlete. And it's hard to call it massive now.
Yeah.
It was the biggest prize in jiu-jitsu until just a couple of weeks ago, and now CJI is Craig trying to suck all the air out of the room,
I wanted to ask you
taking
about
everything I worked for, Craig.
that. I wanted to ask you about that actually. What do you think
Yeah,
about
go ahead.
this event?
I mean, I think it's amazing for the sport.
Do you have
I
any
think that
insight on like, because I know when he was on Rogan, he couldn't really talk about who was putting it on. Has any more info on that come out, or is it pretty just hush hush?
I have some insight, but no info has or is coming out.
There you go. Understood. Understood. Okay, that's very cool. And then what about, I wanted to ask you about karate combat too, or is it, yeah, is it karate combat? Yeah.
Mhm.
Because the event was here not long ago, and I didn't go to that one. I wanted to also, but I saw it on, I streamed it. I saw Gordon Ryan was there, Rogan, all these people. That event looks like it's pretty cool in person.
Yeah, I haven't been yet, but I love like they're a very creative promotion, and I
Yeah.
really like that. They've done a lot of really creative and innovative things, just from the production to the playing area to the promotion. To they have an involvement with their own crypto and like a DAO system where every all the fans get their own like to get to be part of the voting for like league changes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think they got a lot of really cool things going on. I really like what they're up to. I would love to eventually like get into cahoots with them,
Yeah,
actually.
dude, that would be a great collaboration. The collaboration we didn't know we all needed. And then lastly, man, the enhanced games. Are you familiar with the guys putting that on?
I just heard a clip just now where they were on Rogan today.
Yes. Okay,
But
so
but no, I don't know much about it.
okay, well maybe, we'll talk about it in a couple of months after, you listen to it and they maybe put on. I don't remember when the first event, if it's going to be 24, 25, or what it is, but that whole project, that whole concept I think is fascinating. I think that is a direction that sports or athleticism should go because we're limiting people to their potential. Like who wouldn't love to see, Prime Overeem back in there somewhere in some organization doing his thing or, Vitor or what have you. But what are your
Yeah,
thoughts
I'd like
on
to see what Brock Lesnar would have looked like
exactly?
if he was just allowed to do whatever he wanted to.
So what are your thoughts on the enhanced games?
I mean, I think there's a place for everything.
Yeah.
Do I like it or agree with it? Like, I feel like that's kind of irrelevant. I
Yeah.
think there's a place for it.
It's really you're gonna enjoy the podcast. They're already talking about people, when you talk about streaming it or television rights, some big hitters are already they want in on the enhanced games.
Totally believe that.
Yeah. Well, dude, what's the best website? Is it still the PGF for everybody to find out all the info?
Yeah, just follow me on Instagram. That's really the thing you need to do.
True.
Just go to brandonmc.ninja because everything, whether it's PGF or any of that, just it's all gonna flow through me. And you're gonna get info on the UFC Fight Pass, Invitational, you're gonna get info on ADCC, CJI, EBI. It'll all come through there. If you want to follow the PGF specifically, it's on all platforms, PGF World.
I love it, man. I appreciate your time, brother.
It's my pleasure, dude. I love you very much.
I love you very much too. You have a great rest of your day.
See ya.
Peace out, man.